Very good. Welcome, folks. This is the end of April Salesforce Tips and Tricks webinar that the Marks Group does. We do these once a month based on the previous month's tips. So this week and the next couple days, I'm going to get my new set of tips up onto our blog site. And then end of May, we'll go through those tips, you know, how we go through things and get it done that way. As you can see, we're kind of building on my own Salesforce here, so we'll go back and forth on this. If there is any questions, anything like that, everyone's kind of in mute listen-only mode, but if you have any questions and you want to chat with me, go ahead and kind of raise your hand, that type of thing, to get it all set up. I'll open up the question area in my world so I can see that a little bit more, or you can use the chat if there's any questions. The Salesforce tip for today's session is actually it's just, I'm going to bring up the page and show you here. It's actually it's the global search on lookups, and what I did is it's a very long tip, so I kind of combine it into all three. Usually we do three, like a couple simple ones, couple you know, maybe a more complex one, maybe a very technical one. But at this case, it was a long one for me, and I knew I wasn't going to be able to do it all in 20 minutes if I did more than this one, so I just kind of stuck with this one and made it happen. As you can see, it's one of our longer tips. It involves a workflow process. It involves custom fields, and it involves search views and all that kind of stuff, and editing the columns. So I'm going to keep this over on my left just so I can keep that straight and I know what I'm doing and following along. So if you hear some pauses from me, it's because I'm trying to figure out where we are and make sure I don't miss anything. So essentially, what brought this to my attention was I was looking at a client of ours asked, they use parent accounts. So if I go here and look at this and I say accounts with parents to be fixed, there's nothing in here. There's one right there. There's Kids Peace Foster Care, right? They don't have the parent. But there is a parent account, so let me go actually look for parent. I'm going to look for accounts that do have a parent, not equal to, and then I'll just do that. Get rid of that. This is just a view, just to show you what I'm looking at. All right, so I've got 5 accounts in here that have parent accounts: Sourcing Group, Abundance, Marks Group. Okay, that's like my personal, and then this is the parent company, right? And as you can see, these are all just parent accounts, and you could actually double click this and edit these, but this is not my parent account field, right? If I actually went to it, I could do this here and show you. If I get rid of this here, I'm going to get rid of this there, we're going to add them back in later, and I go look at parent company and add that in, move it up a little bit, what you're going to find is that these parent accounts are actually, they're locked, because when I go here, if I go to like Abundance Wealth, the Sourcing Group is their parent account, and it's a lookup, it's underlined. We know there's a hyperlink because there's a lookup for it, right? Well, that's fine. The problem is I can't search for those, right? So if I wanted to search for the Sourcing Group, I couldn't do it. It wouldn't be there. It won't show up. The only thing that will show up is actually the Sourcing Group, okay? So for instance, if I was to go look at these records and actually add in that column with the parent account for search, right? Let's do that here. I'm just going to do this just so we can get back to our example's sake. See, I've got them all filled in. So I'm going to do that, save it. I'm actually going to blank them all out so you can see what I'm talking about. Okay, so now they're all blank. So there's my Sourcing Group, and all that's fine and everything's good, but you can see that I don't have anything in there. The searching is what we need to fill in today. Okay, if I search for the Sourcing Group, I'm only going to find the Sourcing Group. I don't find anything else. I can actually go here and see the hierarchy and see all the other records that are in there, okay? But I'm not seeing what I want to see. Okay, the Sourcing Group is actually, I'm only going to be able to do that in the global search. The reason why is there's a true limitation on lookups in the global search. You can't search anything here that is a lookup. I've done a bunch of stuff. I've tried to go here, I've gone to setup, and I go to like customize accounts, and I went to search layouts, and you would think, oh, maybe if I put it in here like this, maybe if I put in my edit here and I say parent account and I put that in here, maybe that will allow me to search it. Nope, it does not. It never works. So the goal was to be able to do this, the sourcing group, and find all the accounts that are related, including the parent. Can't do it out of the box. So that's what we're going to do today. I'm going to take the next 15 to 20 minutes to kind of go through this. Like I said, on my blog site, or on the blog site for the company, we do have the full step-by-step. So if I go a little too fast in certain places, that's what it is. Okay. So the first things first is what I have to do. We're going to create two fields. Okay. We're going to go to the Customize Accounts fields, and we're going to get in here two custom fields. Okay. And from there, what we'll do is we're going to add them in. There's going to be, I think there it is. I've got parent account for search, okay, and I've also got an update parent search. This parent account for search is just a text box with 80 characters, made it very, very long, okay. The other one is the update parent search, which is just a checkbox, okay. This one we're going to use later. This is the one that we want to do for our main thing. This is what we're going to end up actually searching when we're searching for things. Okay, so that's what we're going to do there. We're going to add those two fields in. Okay, I'm just going to. We know at this point, I believe, how to add new fields. If you don't, I do go through it a little bit in other tips and such. But I just kind of blow through this pretty quickly and just say, you know, where are they? When I did add them in, okay. They actually will go to, they're going to go to the account record. And because I want them on there, I'm actually going to put them, I have them here, but I could always move them way down if I wanted to, all right? Just to see if they're working, I could leave them here. That's where they kind of show up. Okay, there's parent account, parent company. Oh, parent company was another formula field that I tried, actually. What I did was I tried to do the same thing, where parent company is just a formula field that pulls in the parent account. And I thought, well, hell, maybe that's going to work too. You know, if I do that, if I do this formula field, nope, still won't do it. Because here it is, it's a formula that actually all it does is pull in the parent name. Okay, this field's garbage. I actually should delete it because I know it's not going to work. Let's not confuse things, so I'm going to delete that. Okay, so I delete that custom formula, delete it, done, none, and we're gone. Okay, so the parent account is what I'm trying to pull in, which is an out-of-the-box field, right? Okay, it's I must be referencing it somewhere. So anyway, but the parent account field is what we have to do here, and that's what we want. That's what we want to pull in. I was hoping, like I said, to do a formula. It did not work. Okay, so I've got two fields, and what the goal is to take this field here, this parent account for search field, which is just a straight text field of 80 characters. The goal is that when a parent account is added or changed, I need to add a workflow that will actually update this field. I'm not really going to show it. I want to hide it. I want to bury it. I want to put it far down. But I do want to have it that people can search. And so therefore, I need to have this dummy field off in the corner. And that's what this is. So we're going to go here. We're going to go to my process builder. Okay, and we're going to start the process. Okay, now I've done this already, but you can see I've got update parent account search checkbox, not that one. We're going to actually do this one here, update parent search field. Okay, and so when we start, it asks you to do things. I don't know if you've messed with the process area first, but the first thing that it does is it actually asks you and says, what do you want to work on? So let's actually go back out. We'll just create a new one. We're going to call this update parent search field 2. Okay, and it starts when a record is changed. Okay, bottom line, that's what we want. Okay, say save it. Now it's going to ask, what's the object? Well, on this case, it's the object, it's the account. Okay, and when a record is created or edited. Okay, we can also do advanced stuff. you know, I don't really mess with this very often, but this actually allows it to go and go and go and go and go and keep doing. Okay, so you save that, and now what we're going to do is add the criteria. So we add this criteria, and the criteria name here is going to be parent account changes. Okay, and that's what it is. Now, there's a few ways, and I've actually mentioned this in the blog, but what I do is I just say the account, like I can actually say parent account here, like parent account ID, and I just say parent account, like the account name, and I'll say is changed is true, right? That's kind of a weird thing, like you have to say that the parent account is changed is true, right? And then I'm going to say here that the parent account, same thing that we were just at. And this is something I had to do some troubleshooting on to figure out if it, because I got some errors when I did it. And I say choose this, and I'll say is null is false. So that's actually saying it's not null. So the parent account changes, and it's not null when it does change, right? It's not blank. Like that's kind of what we have to do. We have to do it's all that's done, okay? I've also done it with other ways with like a formula, okay? But essentially what we're going to do is we're going to update the records, right? And so on and so forth. But this is my criteria. You don't want to do this. This is no criteria, means it just happens every time. That's not what we want to do. We need to have conditions being met. So again, parent name is changed, and it's changing to not null. It's changing to not blank. Okay, save that. And now what we're going to do is we're going to add an action, and that's going to where we say update the records. Okay, and it's going to be update parent search field. Okay, the record type that we're doing, it's the record that starts the process. Okay, you can do other things too. A lot of times people will do this and they'll say, oh, I want this record, but we don't want to do that here. That would be like if you wanted to, let's say, change the address on the account record and you wanted to update all the contact records below, you would do it here, then it would update the contacts, right? Oh, actually, no, I'm doing it backwards. It would be the other way. If you updated a contact's address and you wanted that to update the account, you would do it that way. It would take the contact's address and update. So it's related. Here we're just doing the same exact record. We choose that, and then we say no criteria, just update the records. Okay, because this is if we wanted to further filter it. Okay, and away we go. And let's see here, just making sure I've got everything, right? Okay, and okay. So that's it, right? I'm sorry, I asked for what field are we updating. So we're going to search here down below. We're going to say parent account for search, and we are going to update it with a reference, which is going to be the parent account name. So what we're doing is we're actually updating the parent account for search field with whatever that parent account name is, and we put it in there, and then we save it. And that is your process. Okay. Now, there's one thing here. So this is what I say here. There's a bad news that I'm talking about. Now, the bad news is, the good news is this is going to take care of everything going forward as soon as I activate it. Okay, I didn't activate it yet, and I'm not going to because I've already got one that works. What we're going to do instead, though, is we have to get, this works going forward. What we need, though, is how do we do it going backwards? How do we force that update to happen? Okay, and that was a tricky part. I kind of had to mess with it with another client, but we came up with a checkbox that if you take a view and you take a checkbox and you say, I want to update all of these records, it will update all those records. Okay, it will run the process. So what we do is we go back to our view all processes, okay, and we're going to do a new one that's going to be saying update parent account search checkbox 2. Okay, same thing. Starts when a record changes, save. Same exact process that we just did. Okay, the thing is that we're going to do, though, is we're going to change that process a little bit, and we're going to make it instead that when a record's edited or created, save that, Okay, we're going to add the criteria, and it's going to be when checkbox is checked. Okay, conditions are met. We find the checkbox, and this is updates all the way down. Update parent account search is changed, is equal to true, and we're going to say update parent account, parent search box equals true. Okay. Wait, did I do it right? Blah, 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 blah. Update. I want to do conditions are met. Yeah, I think, yeah, it should be fine. So what I'm going to do is, like, I think I skipped a page, did I? It says, let's see, go through the motions above, check and change the checkbox so it force it to work no matter what. I'll just overwrite this is for the older stuff. Oh, actually, no, you know what? We don't even have to do this. We don't even have to say, we just have to say no criteria. Okay. The reason why is because we're only going to use this temporarily, right? We're going to force the change no matter what every time we check it. Okay, and I'll show you why. So what happens is we do no criteria, we save it, and it's going to be update the record as the add action. Apologies, I kind of screwed up for a second, forgot what I was doing there. This is going to be update parent and checkbox. Okay, there's two things that I want to do, right? First thing I want to do is I want to do, okay, again, the record that we started it. Okay, and then what are we going to update? We're going to update the parent account for search field again with that reference to the account, the parent account ID, and the parent account name. Again, we're just updating. This is a reference. This means it's pulling from another record. I also want to update the update parent search checkbox back to false. Okay? Because I want to check it and then I want to uncheck it right away. And the reason why is because my view, oops, apologies. The view that we're doing is that was my reminder for this webinar. Great. The review that we're going to use is going to look for blank checks, but they have a parent search. They have a parent account. In other words, you'll see it in a second. But essentially what I'm doing here is I'm resetting this back to false, and then I'm going to update that parent account, and I save it. Okay? And we're all good, right? And that's it. So that's done there. I go back to my processes. If I wanted to, I would update those, but I'm not going to. Okay? So in this case, what I can do is I can actually delete these because there's already working ones, and so I don't want to keep these out there. It's just bad design to keep garbage test things out there. So that's fine. So we've got these two working exactly the way I built them before. Okay, we're going to go back to setup. Okay, we're going to go to the account search results now. Okay, so we got to do a couple things here. This is where we start to get, how do we do things and how do we get our searches. So we're going to go to the customize accounts, and we're going to go to search layout, and we're going to edit this, and we're going to add in parent account. Okay, we just want to put this in there, right? And that's fine. That's good. That's what we want. It's not in there normally, but we want it in there so that when I do a search that says the sourcing, I should see the parent account in my accounts. Whoops, must have spelled it wrong. If I do that, the sourcing group, you can see there's my parent account right there. It's blank because we've edited these out for example sakes today. Okay. Now what's going to happen is this. Let's check our processes. Okay. So the first process is this. I go to the sourcing group. I go to hierarchy, and there is these records. They're already in there. Okay. But the sourcing group is not actually in that search box, which is where I need it. Okay. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to go here, and I'm going to take the parent account, and I'm going to delete this and save it. Okay, now nothing changed. I'm going to go back in here again and say abundance. Look for that. There it is. Save it, and boom, there's my search. There's the formula that I had, and here's the search box that we want. Okay, so if that's the case, now if I go abundance, Now you see what I got. I got Abundance Wealth and I got Falcon, where Abundance Wealth is their parent account. So I'm getting it in both places. Okay. That allows me to do a search and pull up everything that's out there, right? Again, the sourcing group, not there. So what do? Well, that's fine the way that we're doing it. Like, as I said, as you add new records, this is going to work just fine. This is perfect, right? But what we need to do is we need to actually fix the existing accounts. Now, this is a real bear. I'm not going to lie to you, okay? It depends on how many records. When I was working with someone else, they had about 1,000 accounts. It wasn't a problem, okay? If you have more than that, we probably have to do something more like use data loader to export and then re-import to trigger this, this change is what we have to do, okay? In this case, what we're going to do is we're going to edit a view, and we're going to say where the parent company is not equal to that, okay? So if I save that, I've got these bunch, right? That's fine, perfect. But I'm not seeing the parent account for search. This is what I need. Now, I could manually write that in, copy and paste, copy and paste, copy and paste, but that's not fun, right? So instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a view, and I'm going to say where I want, where the update parent account, parent search, is equal to, you know what? Actually, no, forget that. I'm going to say the parent search field is equal to blank. And now you'll see that one Falcon that had it in there went away. So I use this view as my cue to clean up the records, right? This is accounts with parents that need to be fixed, essentially is what we're looking at. So I'm using this as my list of records to fix the items and fill these in, and this will go down as I continue to work with them. If you have 1,000 accounts that have parent records, not a problem. As you're filling them in, they will remove from this. You refresh the view and they will remove. Okay. So now, what I did here is I go to this edit. Okay. I'm going to add in the update parent search to the fields, and I save it. Why? Well, because from here I can edit this record. So watch what happens. I'm going to double click in here, check it, save it, and as I refresh it, that's going to go away. Okay? Because the workflow worked with the checkbox and the way it went. So I can do this and say update these three, all three records, check it, say save, and now I'm going to refresh this, and all three of those are gone because they've been fixed. So if I get rid of this here and I just get rid of that whole, get rid of that thing, now I can say save. You can see they filled in. And my checkbox went back to null, went back to false. But they're all filled in now. And I use the checkbox to do so. So once I've cleaned up my existing database, I will remove this update parent search field, get rid of it, kill it, and get rid of that process because we don't need it anymore. Because everything moving forward will just be grabbed as people make edits and they create new records. Okay. Now what can I do here? Now I can say the sourcing. And I've got the sourcing group, Abundance, and CU Inc. because they show up over here. And that is, now if I want to edit that layout again, I could go to setup. You have actually search layout, I think, in here. But let's go to customize, accounts, search layouts, edit this guy, and we're going to move the parent account up a little bit. And say save. So now if I say the sourcing, you get a nice little rundown that says here, and if I just want to say just accounts only, here's the sourcing group, and there's the parent account. So in a way, I'm seeing that account with its hierarchy. Now I know someone that is on the call, this could work out really, really well for her in a group because they use parent accounts all the time. And that's what we want to do. So instead of going here and having to look for the hierarchy, which is still a nice way of doing things, because remember there's Falcon below that, we wanted these other two to show up as well. So when I do that sourcing group with the search, that's fine, they show up. Okay, and there's the records, right? You've got the two children because the parent accounts are over there. Okay, and that's it. So that's the blog page that it goes through. I go through all those steps in detail as to what I did for the past 15 minutes. I would say I would recommend it. If you're a user of parent accounts and you want people to see that and understand the way the parent accounts work and to be able to search across all records and find out all the accounts that are under that parent with the simple search for the parent, this is very, very useful. Now, be careful what you wish for. You may end up with more results than you want, but that's kind of where we're at. All right. So again, here endeth the tips webinar for today. I'll have the new tips up for this coming, or for May. They should be up by the end of the week. And then again, we'll do this about 3 weeks, a little bit maybe before Labor. Actually, I think it's right after Memorial Day we'll do this last one. Last Tuesday of the month is what we usually do. Okay, so I hope everyone enjoys the rest of their day. Have a good one, and we'll talk to you soon. Thank you.